So today we're going to be talking numbers. I'm going to walk you guys through my spreadsheet and show you all the things that I do and how I lay out everything that I buy and then I sell. And I'm going to sort of go through some of my sales and show the difference between the high dollar items and the lower dollar items, just so you can kind of see what you should look for and what you shouldn't look for, so we can see the things I've got some big profit on and the things that I could possibly lose some money on. So we're just going to go through that and I'm going to show you guys exactly what it looks like. Okay, so here's my spreadsheet. It's pretty basic. You can see I've just got the date when I list the item description, what I paid for it, what I sold it for, my overall profit for that item, which includes the PayPal fees, the eBay fees, shipping, and everything. And then over here, where I have total spent, total profit, and net, those are actually formulas that I made using this little function bar over here. And so whenever I input things into certain columns, it automatically adds up these numbers for me, which has been a lifesaver. So I can just instantly see what my profit is without having to do too much work. And so going down to the bottom here, we can see that I started my first sales December 21st. I did this while I was on Christmas break for college. So it was super easy, just took a few minutes. And if you'll notice, I've got a couple of zeros starting down here in my paid column. What I did when I was home for break was just grab things that I didn't use anymore, that I didn't need to take back to college with me, and I just sold them. And so obviously you're not risking anything, you're not putting anything in. It's $0, which is wonderful. Those are my favorite kinds of items. And for example here, this Coach purse that I had, I got it a couple of years previously for Christmas. I wasn't really using it anymore. And so I didn't want it just sitting around, so I listed it and I sold it fairly quickly. It only took 2 or 3 days to sell. And then you can see I listed it for $65, made almost a $60 profit, which is huge, especially considering I didn't put anything into it. And so that was a really big sale for me to sort of get me started. And so I was able to use that money to go and buy some smaller items like these 108 items, $4 items, and just get those listed to sort of get my numbers up. And so what I do is everything in yellow is what's been sold, so it can help me to sort of keep up with what I have and what I have left. And so obviously down at the bottom there's a lot more yellow, which I love to see. And then here's some of my newer items up top that haven't sold yet. But what I like to do is to have them separate like that so I can tell, how much I have listed that I need to be able to sell. And one thing I also love to do, which I'm sure most of you know about, is if you have a Mac and you do Command F, you have a search bar. And since I have a lot more items listed now, this really helps me to search for things. Like right here, I've got 3 items that have the same keyword, so I can sort of tell them apart pretty quickly, which is nice. But one thing I encourage you to do if you're looking to get this started is to definitely just list things that you have around your house and you don't want anymore. It's a great way to get some quick profit and to get your numbers up. Right now I have about 75 things actively listed, and my goal is to have a minimum of 100 at all times. So I'm working towards that goal, listing new things every day. And you can see, starting at the end of December, so I had all of January, all of February, half of March, half of December, I guess, so about 3 months. I made about $430, which is nothing to sneeze at, of course, and obviously the more you list, the more you sell. So I encourage you just to go ahead and get started little by little, just listing things that you have around your house, and then once you're out and about, if you have a chance to pop into a thrift store for a quick minute, look for some of those high dollar brands that I talked about in some of my other videos and on TikTok, Ralph Lauren especially, Johnny Was, brands like that are really good. And I'm all the time discovering new brands I've never heard of. For example, I have some shoes right here, these Loro Polina shoes. I got them listed on my site right now for $215. They're selling brand new retail for anywhere between $1,000 and $6,000, and I've seen several of them sold used for over $300. So I listed mine for $215. I'm looking to get a quick sell out of them. So just random things like that you might not be aware of that you can find and research while you're out. So I hope that was helpful for you guys to see just how I lay things out and get things organized. It really helps me to see my profit and the things that I really need to work on. And surprisingly, there are some items on there you can tell, especially towards the bottom, that are white and haven't sold yet. There's some pretty big items that I figured would have sold at this point and haven't. And so again, that just goes into sort of like a learning curve. You just learn what brands sell, what brands don't. And sometimes you can find something that's a great brand and it just takes a while to sell. There's things I've had before that I've got back in December when I started that sold just last week. Things that were really good high dollar items that you just gotta find the right customer, and sometimes that just takes time. So what I do a lot is when I'm in the store, I always have my phone with me, and so whenever I find an item, whether it's a familiar brand or not, I'll get my eBay app out, I'll search that particular item, I'll go to sold and see one, what they're selling for to see if it's worth the purchase, but two, I also look at the dates. It'll show you the last time that that item was bought, and so I try and see if they've been bought pretty recently to know that people are looking for that right now. And again, that just depends on what you're looking for, what you're selling, what your store is like, and all of that just really depends. It's really circumstantial. But for the most part, if you can find some pretty solid brands, usually you can keep getting those pieces over and over again. And whether it takes a couple days or a couple weeks, you'll get some good sales in. So I definitely encourage you guys, if you're interested in doing this, just start somewhere, grab something from your closet that you don't wear anymore, list it up for a few bucks, and then see what you can get. Don't forget to check out my eBay account. I'll link it below so you can see all the cool items I've been finding. Also, check out my TikTok for more tips and tricks for thrifting.